Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Gun Rights Policy Conference 2022. I am Craig DeLuz, and I am repping for the Firearms Policy Coalition here at this event. And folks, we are having a phenomenal time. All the advocates, the activists, the lobbyists, the organizational leaders, the scholars are all here talking about our fundamental right to keep and bear arms. And can't say there is such an opportunity to learn. It is astounding. Now, when we talk about the Second Amendment, we mostly talk about firearms, but that's not the only item that we are allowed to possess for self-defense. We also have knives. So with us today, we have from Knife Rights, Mr. Todd Rathner. Todd, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you for having me, Craig. It's great to be here again. It's always fun to sit down and talk with you whenever we get to do this. And
Excellent.
So I'm glad to be here. Thanks.
So how are you enjoying the conference thus far?
Well, it's great. This conference is always a very important conference to be at. It's always a lot of fun. Part of it is just being able to see old friends like yourself, meet new people, listen to the speakers, listen to some of the scholars and the folks that are out there actually doing this work for us on the ground. And it's great to be around everybody, and it's always great to come to this conference.
Excellent. So now, I just realized that I gave a little bit of the other stuff that you're doing away in your lower third, but tell us a little bit about Knife Rights and how you got into Knife Rights.
Well, I started with Knife Rights back in around 2010, and Knife Rights is about what we call the second front in defense of the Second Amendment, which is your ability to possess whatever type of knife you want to possess. For instance, here in Texas, back in 2013, we worked on a bill to legalize the carry of automatic knives, which are switchblades, which were outlawed in Texas and in a number of other states around the country back in the 50s because of movies and yellow journalism and a bunch of crazy articles that were written about how if you possessed an automatic knife or a switchblade knife, you could be turned into a gang member. I mean, there were literally articles written about that. You can find them on our website at kniferights.org. There are articles that were written about that back in the 1950s. And we've been working since 2010 to overturn all of these laws in a lot of states. But specifically, because we're sitting here in Dallas, in Texas, knife laws were terrible when we got started. And Texas was not as Texas as people think it is. And the knife laws were terrible here. And it's taken us from 2013 until this upcoming session in 2023 to fix all of the knife laws. We have one last thing to do in Texas, which is to fix one length requirement in some sensitive places. And once we get that fixed, Texas will be near perfect for the possession of knives. But we've done a lot. If you go to our website, I think it's 33 separate laws passed in 23 or 24 states, maybe even 25 states at this point. And we're working on not only repealing bad laws, but passing good laws. The good ones are, for instance, knife law preemption, which says that the cities and towns like Dallas or Houston can't regulate knives any stricter than state law, which is a concept that came out of the firearms legal world, and it's been working. We've done that in a dozen or maybe even 13 states so far. So with Knife Rights, I've been very, very active. We've been working real hard to make it legal to carry whatever knife you want to carry.
I can guess, but I'm going to have you. Which state or states would you say are the worst when it comes to Knife Rights?
I gotta say that you probably could guess. I think that New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts are probably the top three. New York is a bit better. New York, we were able to overturn the horrific gravity knife law in the state of New York that the city of New York was abusing. And I don't say using, they were abusing it to arrest 6,000 plus people a year. 86% of the people arrested under the New York State gravity knife law that was being misinterpreted by the city of New York were black and Hispanic. They were specifically being targeted. Those folks, because of that, we were able to put together a coalition with the ACLU and, believe it or not, the NAACP, the public defenders there in New York City, some of the most left-wing and typically anti-Second Amendment folks you can imagine, got together with us to finally help us repeal the gravity knife law at the state level, and put a huge amount of pressure on former Governor Cuomo to sign it. He signed it. Now those 6,000 people are no longer being arrested in the city of New York. But New York is probably one of the worst. New Jersey is bad. And as I said, Massachusetts is bad. California is not great, but a little bit better as a western state. Texas wasn't great, and Texas is now one of the best. But Arizona, my home state of Arizona, of course, is the best state to own knives.
I can imagine that. That I can easily guess. All right, so now you're doing some work with FPC now.
I am. I'm proud to say that I've been working with FPC for a while now. We started off in Texas during the permitless carry effort back in 21. And we assisted getting the permitless carry bill across the goal line here in Texas, and we brought some important people along as additional votes for it. We were able to make some substantive changes and negotiate some stuff that was helpful. Ultimately, the permitless carry bill in Texas is a very good bill. A lot of people know that the Texas Senate monkeyed around with it a little bit and made some changes that we were opposed to, but ultimately the bill passed. We have real permitless carry in the state of Texas now because of FPC's work, but some other organizations, but FPC also contributed to that work. And we worked hard. I was here for about 6 weeks straight, working every single day, cooperating with other lobbyists from other organizations to get it done with the sponsor. We worked very closely with him. And then we tried to prevent some of these bad amendments in the Senate. Ultimately, some of them prevailed. It's still a good bill, and just like every other good bill that we've ever passed, we will be back. We will work on it more. We will get some of these things fixed that we had to accept in the 11th hour. This is an ongoing process. But yeah, so I worked on the Texas permitless carry bill first. Then we worked on the Ohio permitless carry bill, which is a really, really good bill. We helped the sponsor to draft the original bill that finally passed. We worked day in and day out with the sponsor's office. I was on the ground for weeks and weeks and weeks in Ohio, in Columbus, working on that bill. And Ohio finally got a fantastic permitless carry bill. And I'm just going to say it's because a number of organizations worked together, but FPC got on the ground with me. I have a lot of great contacts in Ohio because of all the knife work I've done there, and I believe that that my relationships and FPC's willingness to actually go out there and get involved and work at this on the lobbying side, and I just really think it made a big difference. And we also then played in Indiana and Louisiana. In Indiana, we helped pass the permitless carry bill there as well. Louisiana, we're going to need a new governor there before we're going to get that done. But we're not going away. We're going to keep working at this stuff.
Excellent. Any idea what you're going to be working on next?
Well, I do have some ideas on what I'm going to be working on next. In consultation with the folks who run FPC, we will make some determinations on where we're going to go next, but I'm not going to tell you right now because that's strategic and tactical, and I like to keep things close to the vest until we're actually on the ground. But I promise you, once we're on the ground, once we're working on those things, I'd be happy to talk to you about this anytime, and keep an eye on FPC's Twitter, all their social media outlets, and you'll know maybe even before I do officially where we're going to be playing. But no, we've got quite an agenda planned for 23, and but I'm just not going to talk about it today.
Excellent. So all you anti-gunners out there who are watching the program, hoping to get some intel, no spoilers for you. Well, sir, you have been a stalwart. There's not many people who have had an impact on our right to keep and bear arms in as many states as you have. You have been going across the back. I always say going across the country on the back of a bullfrog.
Well, I
Make it
feel like
happen.
sometimes during the legislative sessions, I feel like a pinball bouncing around the country. I will say this: I'm very grateful to hear you say those words. It really does make me happy. I don't do this for accolades. I certainly don't do it for the money. This is like, I do this because I'm passionate about it, because I care about it, because it needs to get done. Someone has to do it. I love what I do. I love being able to have an effect. I love being able to have a legacy that my kids can be proud of someday, and so that they can exercise their rights. But I'll be honest with you, Craig, it's very nice when folks like you actually recognize the work that I'm doing, and it makes me feel good to go out there and do it.
Well, having lobbied on this issue on gun rights, I can tell you it's not an easy thing to do.
No.
So my hat's off. If I had a hat, I would take it off to you. Where can folks follow both the work of Knife Rights and the work you're doing for FPC?
FPC has a bunch of social media outlets and a website. I'm sure that you have. It's FPC.
Firearmspolicy.org.
Yes. Okay. So firearmspolicy.org, and then we have kniferights.org. Knife Rights has Instagram, Twitter. I'm not the hippest when it comes to all this social media stuff. I just kind of like go out and do my job. But if you go to both their websites, you'll find their social media feeds. I would suggest following both organizations on Twitter and Instagram, and I think Twitter, they're very fast. Both organizations are very fast to post news about what we're working on, yeah, I mean, please come follow us there. And then the other thing is if you're in a position to make a contribution, to make a donation to either or both organizations, please do it. The only way that they can keep putting fuel in the tank that allows me to bounce around this country like a pinball and get stuff done is from member donations.
Right. So, folks, just to be real clear, one of the things that Todd did here was he showed you where your contributions go, where, if you become a member, where your membership dollars go. So, here's the deal. If you're not part of the solution, you are part of the problem. Don't be a part of the problem. Donate or become a member today. Finally, as I said, there's no us without you. Todd, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Craig. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate having you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's another one knocked down. Folks, there's just so many people here. I'm going to go see who I can run down next. So you guys go ahead and take a break, enjoy. But I'm going to be back here with someone special pretty soon. So you take care, and we'll see you again real soon.
If you like our videos, follow, subscribe, like, and share.